Good afternoon, everyone. So in this segment, we are going to talk more about the book, and we're going to learn what inspired Jenny to write this book. And she's going to take us behind the scenes, including the process she did in order to come up with this wonderful book. So Jenny, first of all, allow me to judge your book by the cover. So it's Well Howie, that's the title. Does this mean the only people who can benefit from reading this book are women?
Wow, no, not at all. Because when I wrote it, yes, as much as it's for the women, yeah, also the boy child needs to read it. Because from that, the male version will be able to understand that woman they're having, like their partner. So when I was writing it, I wasn't, it's not only for women to read it, even like our men need to read it, because from that, now men will start understanding us in depth. I remember we were sitting somewhere and I was explaining the book to my younger brother, Peter. So Peter was like, Allah, interesting. Hadi umeandika vitu za financialize. Okay, sisemi anafanya financialize, but it caught, sorry Peter for sharing this, but it caught him and he was really interested in reading it. Because out of that, he will be able to understand the version of us that irritates us. Yes, you can, and when I look at the men, yeah, on their version, it's not like they do it knowingly. Sometimes we get mad because of something they're doing it, not knowingly it's making us mad, especially when it comes to money. So, men, this is also for you. Women, this is for you. So the book addresses all parties.
Okay, that's good to know. When reading the book, there are so many stories. There are so many stories where you give examples and real life experiences of what other people went through. What inspired you to write this book in that way?
What inspired me? I think I really wanted to do a second book, but I was stuck. Do I write a book to master your investment? Because the first book is about the art to master your finances. But I kept on, the way you think about, I need to write, but what? Until a moment whereby I realized so many women who come to my session, sometimes I end up being like we go to, they're called psychologists. Yeah. So sometimes I end up psychiatrist. Therapist. So sometimes I end up like being a therapy. Because this woman is going through a lot of things, yeah? But, so, she has come, she needs a solution in terms of finances and investment, but I end up doing therapy sessions because of what they are going through, be it rebuilding from wherever they are. So I realized whether there is need for a book for just about women, where I can talk about all the stories and someone can just read and realize, I see me I'm going through this. And at the same time, those women who come for my session, I realize there's also a gap. I teach, I talk about finances, wealth and all that, yeah? But most women, there's a huge gap of not knowing where to start, of not taking the risk. That is now how Wealth Howie came to be.
We can all appreciate that writing a book is not easy. And as Daniel said, sometimes that's what the pillow talk was about the book. So when you're writing it, which chapter can you say was the hardest to write?
Wow. Chapter 8 and 9. Chapter 8 is writing about the rising from the rubble. Everybody. Chapter 8 is about what? Rising from the rubble, yes. That chapter really took a stretch on me because I'm used to talking about money, finances, wealth. It is easy to teach, but telling people's truth, that was a big stretch for me because I think I've talked about widowhood and writing about someone grieving and someone trying to start it all. That was a big stretch because the stories I've shared with that, I sometimes I would sit down and wonder, maybe is happening here. So that really was actually, it took almost 2 months for that chapter before it came to be. Sometimes I would go writing, emotions flocking, and pop, alpha blind spot comes in. I forget like things and I start now imagining, and then I go home, turns up and blaming, realizing Nani cares both sides, things will look how. You know, it's not easy to rebuild when you're grieving at the same time. But there's also a story where I wrote like a mom who is grieving at the same time, people taking out from her, you know. So that one was a stretch. Chapter 9, building after crisis. Also, that one took a stretch because I'm talking about this woman who is trying to rebuild either after they lost their partner, either after divorce, either after separation. So the emotional side was taking a toll than me being, you know, trying to practically following what I'm supposed to write. So those 2 chapters, I would say, took a toll on me. But the stories are amazing. I know you'll enjoy and relate to those women.
Okay, we've talked about the different chapters in the book, and the book is so extensive, it covers a lot. So for the reader, for someone who's going to get the book and read it for the first time, what is that one lesson that they should pick? Like, from the entire book, if they were to pick one thing, what would that lesson be?
Wow, there are many lessons they should pick. But like from the topic, yeah, from the title of the book, Wealth Away, I will still insist. The main lesson of the book: do wealth your own way. As a woman with clarity, structure, and start building it. We need to, like Daniel has said, you need to start owning things. On your, like, you know, you need to start investing your own way. So the book has a whole structure of everything. There's a subtopic about prenups, and I needed to consult a lawyer before writing it, because for all those women who are trying to rebuild, you were in a relationship or a marriage, then kaput ikaenda. It's not. Then you get into another one. Why are we shying away on requesting for prenuptial agreements? And it's silly, but we're just protecting ourselves. So the book is expensive, but one lesson: please build wealth your own way, with her money, her power, her dignity, her way.
I don't want us to talk so much about the book. So at least when somebody is going to read, they'll see new things as they go. So what is next for you? Should we expect a masterclass? You've talked about the kids book, which is coming next year. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Wow, what's next for me? We will do the series for the kids books, and I know everyone here will enjoy the books, but I'm still struggling with that as usual. Like, you know, trying to figure out kids talk. Hey, Ningomo, so if you can please come help. But that will be the next project. We are starting our master classes for the adults starting on 4th February. It will be a class once a week. So that at least we can extend and at least train on the finances and wealth side. Then for the kids master classes, the first one will start in April, so that's also another thing that is coming up. And I think we want to do the Japesh Wealth Summit, an annual event, so that is also something I'm looking forward to. Yeah.